strategy. Niall Stanage is here, White House columnist for our partners at The Hill, good friend of the show. Why no big rally to announce this re-election bid after 4 years of what the White House says is a very successful presidency?
I think a couple of reasons, Leland. I think a video is by its nature much more controlled. It limits or eliminates the possibility for gaffes. But there's also the question of whether President Biden can really draw those huge rally crowds. He did in my native Ireland, but here in the US, it tends to be a bit of a different situation. He doesn't really inspire that kind of mass passion that we saw with former President Obama or former President Trump on the other side. So a more controlled, more low-key, more low-wattage strategy, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. And you pointed out earlier, I think very rightly, that it's sort of a bizarre situation that the current president of the United States is not anywhere close to the most popular person in his party. You think Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, even Hillary Clinton, Michelle Obama, of Democrats that are really much more high profile. We saw that during the midterms. AP NORAC poll, just 26% of all Americans, less than half of Democrats want to see President Biden run again, 47% for Democrats. 41% of Democrats would definitely support him in 2024 if he were the nominee. Leaves a big white space, if you will. Brendan Buck, former Republican strategist, about this on MSNBC. Take a listen.
It feels very much like Hillary Clinton, who was very excited to run against Donald Trump because they thought there was no way they could lose against Donald Trump. Well, we know what happened there. I think they need to take the threat a little more seriously. I think they need to be engaging Congress a little more seriously. That's a great contrast for him. House Republicans, where I worked, never very popular. And if you can take the contrast straight to them, I think that would be very helpful.
Is there anything the White House is worried about?
Not in terms of an internal, a democratic challenge. I mean, I don't think someone like Marianne Williamson or Robert F. Kennedy Jr. are going to thwart the president's efforts to win the Democratic nomination. I do think there are bigger concerns about whether the president can really energize the Democratic base. The hope is that whoever his Republican opponent is will have the effect of drawing the Democratic base out of there. And of course, not to state the obvious, but we do have a long time to go in which all kinds of events can insert themselves onto the national political scene and cause further problems, perhaps, for the president, who already has pretty low approval ratings and for whom there's a real question about enthusiasm, not only with the public at large, but with some really key Democratic voting.
Yeah, you got this idea, right? The sort of the laser focused things. We're going to go after environmental justice. We're going to talk about social justice. We're going to talk about free college tuition. All these sort of very, very cherry picked issues that speak to very specific parts of the deep blue progressive Democratic base. Not to the broader American public necessarily, and certainly not necessarily to swing voters in Georgia or Ohio, Pennsylvania. New York Times, Biden has held the fewest number of press conferences since Reagan. Any questions? Biden 54, Trump 202, Barack Obama 275. And you pointed out low risk with a videotape announcement, high risk with a rally, higher risk when you start doing town halls, when you start putting the president out in front of the media and the like. Much of this comes down to the age issue, right? As the president has aged, and certainly since he was vice president, he's been more gaffe prone. How does the media now deal with the age issue, which is a real issue for an 80-year-old man running for re-election? How did the media deal with that fairly?
That's a great question. And unfortunately, the media outside of this network, of course, has tended to fall into ideological trenches. And I think you'll see that reflected in the age issue. It is a sensitive issue. It is a real issue. He's the oldest president in American history. If he wins a second term, he would be 86 at the conclusion of that term. That concerns voters who are Democrats and moderate voters as well as Republicans. How do you address that without engaging in sensationalism or kind of diagnoses through a TV screen rather than by people with medical expertise? That's all a tricky question, and I don't hold out a lot of hope that it's going to be a very measured debate in the time ahead.
Yeah, and we also know we know what the White House's playbook is anytime you bring it up, well, it's ageism, which is exactly what happened with John Fetterman. You brought up any of the issues in the Pennsylvania Senate campaign. Oh, it's ableism. It's that the attack is already written. Niall, thank you. It's good to see you as always. Thank you. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week for Launch of the Hill. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.